Solo.
And hello! Welcome to Solo Playthroughs! It's been a while. I feel like I've been saying that every time I log in lately. So, I have some updates and some things that I want to talk about. Well, hey, what's up, Brian? Brian is in the house. And good to see you. Good to see you. I'm going to try to let a couple more people trickle in and then kind of explain where I've been and where I'm going. Sajid, rescheduling a stream last second? That has never happened before. Yeah, man. I was on the phone with the IRS, which was super, super fun. And yes, I will explain that in a little bit as well. All right, I can actually say things today, kids. So I've been hinting at news coming down the pipe for a minute, and here we are. Sajid, but good to see you. Good to see you as well, sir. Or at least I'm not seeing you. I'm seeing your name. That's cool. All right, let's go to story time with Greg and get to chapter 3. It's a pretty short chapter relative to the other one, so I'll just read this whole thing. If you remember last time we took down the beetle, I think, the electric beetle, and some things happened. Some things happened. We'll see. So this is the last of the chapters that will be facing the level 1 monsters. We will be going up to level 2 at the next time. That's a really key part in the campaign because you really need to get to the level 2 equipment. So I probably won't do much in the way of equipment. I will need to craft some potions for sure, so we can have that going in. So I'll be spending some of my plants for potions. But as far as the equipment goes, I might just stay with all my level 1 stuff and keep maximum amount of resources and elements so I can craft better equipment for the next chapter, because we're absolutely going to need to level up as soon as possible. All right, chapter 3. Did you bring the plants? Hurry this way, Thessa urges you as she runs along the corridors toward the keeper's quarters. Worriedly, she enters his room. The keeper is stretched out on the warm wooden floor, still as a statue, his eyes wide open and rolled back in his head. Something's wrong. He's stuck in the vision. He can't come back, Thessa stammers as she grabs the tarmarit root you brought her and mixes it into her brew. So Thessa, remember, is the we met her earlier. This is the keeper, by the way. He sees things. Thessa was the one who kind of lived in the lab here where we create all our potions. So she's kind of like our potion guru, so to speak. So they're trying to get the keeper to come back. He's stuck in some weird little vision. She holds the keeper's torso and places a cup to his lips. Rivulets of the yellow concoction dribble onto the man's clothes, who unconsciously manages to swallow a few sips. Hopefully this will help, Thessa explains to you, in an effort to convince both you and herself that this will work. You hold your breath until the keeper jolts back to consciousness and starts talking excitedly. There was a woman whose body was made of crystal. I'm assuming it's this woman here. All right, I just got a buzz. All right, let me turn my phone off. Go away. All right, I have to write it down before the memory slips away, he says, panting for breath. He grabs a large sheet of cotton paper and starts drawing and writing. He draws a woman holding a scepter topped with a gem. Then all around her body, like a frame, he anxiously writes, "The awakening of the beast will once again devastate life on Thyrea. Power will flow from the broken lands, and mankind will follow that same path, and they too will be drawn into the jaws of the monster." On a second sheet of paper, he sketches out the luminous lines of the woman's cheeks and all around her eyes. Then she told me of an ancient prophecy and a snake, but it was at that moment that everything became hazy, and I could no longer remember. He looks at you and forces a reassuring smile before trying to explain. It's like when we try to remember someone and can't put together a clear picture. We remember some details, others are lost, but we know that the person existed, even if our memory is confused, says the keeper, looking at his sketches. You make sure he is okay, and then take your leave to let him rest. Lost in thought, you make your way across the courtyard, which is by now crowded with other squads, and elbow your way through to check the quest board. Each slip of paper nailed there seems like a piece in a still unfinished mosaic. So remember, the 4 parts of every chapter is: 1 is the story phase. We just finished that. 2 is going to be the quest board phase, where we're going to go in and see what quests are available to us. Now, going to our little chart here, what is open to us is Quest 1, Quest 3, Quest 36, Quest 41, and 46. Now, that's before we enter the story part. Quest 2 is now expired. Expired. We are playing with all the expansions, and Quest 36 is also expired. So, I'm going to get a pencil, and we're going to be like, okay, Quest 2, we ran out of time to you, but we actually already did Quest 2, so that's fine. But Quest 36 is closed, so we're just going to put a big E over it to say you expired. So now we can only choose between 1, 3, 41, or 46. So somebody really likes one of those numbers, let me know, and I will choose that. I am learning Voidfall, by the way, for the weekend games, says Saget. So I may have to jump off eventually, but would never miss the story time, of course. I played Voidfall once. I found it fine. I'm super confused why so many people have like called it a Mage Knight killer. I don't understand that. I found it competitively. I might like it more cooperatively. I don't know. It was pretty complicated for the combat, and like, hey, deterministic combat, like that sounds fun and interesting and all, but when you add so many layers and you have to have like an app to help you understand the app to help you understand the rules, like I'm sure if I really wanted to devote the time, 3 years ago, that might have been my favorite game. I think at this point I'm like, I got too many other games that I like to really have wanted to invest in Voidfall. So, you know, um, I'm glad it exists. People love it. It's great. The space theme I like, obviously, in some games, but not my favorite theme by any means. And I just found some of the scoring like really kind of random. And now that is a game I actually played. The one time I played, I did win. So when I play a game and I win the first time, and I'm kind of like, like that's usually a sign I probably shouldn't own that game. When I play a game and I lose the first time, and I'm like, that was interesting. That's a game of, hey, maybe I should buy it. If I play a game and I win the first time and I really like it, then I'm like, I should play again before I invest. So, words to the wise, or something like that. All right, let's figure out what's going on. So what did I say? 1, 3, 41, or 46. Again, someone can tell me a number, hopefully. And in the meantime, what's going on with Greg? Where have I been? Well, uh, where have I been? Where am I going? And why won't you see me much at all in the next few months? Where have I been? I had heart surgery in October. There's really no non-shocking way to say that. So heart surgery it is. It's an ablation procedure. If people know what that is, I might kind of take some of the edge off of the phrase heart surgery. But yeah, I went to the doctors in August to get a thing done. And while I was there, they hooked me up to a heart monitor. And they were like, uh-oh. And I was like, what? Does uh-oh mean? And found out my heart rate was crazy. My heart was not beating appropriately. It was kind of just flopping a bit and spasming because I had afibrillation, if you know what that is. Saget says, a guy I played a bunch of games with and who obviously knows I love Maze Knight suggested I should like this. Yeah, 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 I don't know. I don't really understand the comparison to Maze Knight. I really don't. Sagittarius surgery. Wow, that's quite a bit tougher than what it seemed like. Oy, dude. Yes. Sorry. So an ablation procedure. It is not open heart surgery. I do not have a major scar on my chest. They actually go in through your femoral veins, and they go into your heart, and they find out where there's some electrical interference that is making your heart beat funny, and they basically create a layer of scar tissue in your heart in very key places to prevent that interference, and then they shock your heart back into beating normally. Again, that is a very layman's understanding of what happened to me. But the procedure went well. It took some time to recover. In the aftermath, though, I did have a series of migraines, which was causing me to have a series of ocular migraines. Everybody knows what aura is. Basically, my vision was really, really bad, so I could not play games. I could not stream for weeks. My vision is still not perfect. I have something called persistent visual aura, which means that my vision is going to be slightly distorted, probably for months, maybe years to come. But it's a small trade-off. I will take the messed up vision, and I prefer a working heart. But yeah, so I'm good. I'm past the pain part of migraines. It's just my vision is kind of distorted. It's just a thing that happens very rarely for people who have migraines, and my series of migraines does seem to be. It does feel like it does seem most likely that the migraines were triggered by the anesthesia of the heart surgery. So that is what it is. Silver Fear says, I know this isn't really relevant, but I purchased my first minis large campaign game a few days ago, Bardsong Legends of the Ancient Fours. It was a mega sale for less than 40. Yeah, Bardsong's interesting. I think you're going to probably want to find some house rules to make it more interesting. It's pretty grindy. Um, I did do a playthrough of that a while back. I played enough of it to be like, it's interesting. I got a review copy too, so it is what it is. But yeah, I wouldn't. He's got some really good ideas. I think the execution is pretty poor in a kind of classic Steam Forged fashion, unfortunately. But the minis are cool. Again, the ideas are pretty cool. I think if you find a way to kind of circumvent and do some like artificial leveling that you're cool with, I think there could be a really good game there for you for sure. Brian says, "Wow, glad you found that." Found that and had it taken care of. My dad had that as well, but nearly instant fix. Yeah, no, it was pretty lucky. I was going in for a pretty um, elective procedure, so I just put that off for a year, and got the heart taken care of. So again, anybody, if you feel lightheaded often and you're not sure why, maybe get your heart checked. You might be an AFib. The um, AFib is becoming the instances of AFib are increasing. It does seem in the medical research, and there might be a link to COVID. They're not really sure why, but it's happening in younger and younger people. Again, I was pretty asymptomatic. I was not aware there was anything wrong with my heart until you know I, I heard anesthesiologist say like or anesthesiologist, not an anesthesiologist, maybe the anesthesia doctor. Yeah, I think that's it. Was basically like, "Uh-oh," when I was like, "Oh, what?" So, Sadger says, "Bardsum, exactly what Greg says." Silver Fear says, "I couldn't pass it up for that price to get into that space. I really wanted Isofarian Guard, but it was cost prohibitive." Yeah, Isofarian Guard is nutso expensive. My friend, um, who lives a couple blocks away, did buy it, so I'm excited to try it in his. Now I say not so expensive. Yeah, I mean, which of these games aren't? Sadja says, "You speak English good." Yes, sometimes. Sometimes I try. Uh, so anyway, so with heart surgery out, my heart's back. That means I'm going to stream a lot more. No, Greg. Also, in light of some very unfortunate political developments here in the United States. I do not fully understand my country, but that's fine. Um, is the window has opened up for Greg to be able to kind of pursue his next steps, and I promise I will stop speaking about myself in the third person. So I. Some of you may know this, and some of you might have pieced this together over the years. I am an attorney in Philadelphia. And in 2018, 2019, I ran for judge in the city of Philadelphia. That was an unsuccessful campaign. I never thought I was going to run for judge again. A large part of me starting this channel was in response to me just filling my time with something that felt therapeutic as I was coming off the first campaign. Well, look, I am running for judge again. In Philadelphia, I did form my committee yesterday. I will be officially announcing in my city, because not a lot of the political people in Philadelphia are watching my YouTube channel, shockingly enough. But I will be officially launching a campaign next week. So my time to do this will be very, very limited for the next 6 months. The Philadelphia primary is going to be in May. That will be very important for me. I will stream when I can. You might have noticed that there was a bit of a different intro today. The reason why is my Patreon no longer exists. I really put the ad setting to the lowest possible thing I could. I'm doing this for fun, for me, and I enjoy this, and this will be therapy for me when I can do it. but I don't know if that's going to be once a month, twice a month. I don't know. It's not going to be a lot though. So that is the next stage of my life, and hopefully that works, and I'll be able to stream a bit more next year, and then we'll see how that fits for me in the long term. But it's obviously the frequency has been down. It's going to continue to be down. I'm really grateful for the 5 years that I've done this. My first video was in November of 2019, so the fact that we're now in November of 2024. It's cool to look back and reflect about this channel and what's going on. But um, taking a big swing, and there's a Philly politics. Politics is crazy everywhere, and Philadelphia politics, any kind of big city politics, is a special sort of crazy. But so I've been back doing that, already going to a lot of events, and you know, uh, making my case for why I should be a judge. So um, that's about that. So we will hopefully get this campaign done in the months to come, but it's gonna be a while for sure. Silverfish is a psychologist. Brian says, "Good luck, Greg. If I was in Philly, I'd vote for you." Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Sadness says, "So now you were doing this for fun, but back in the past it was not fun." Haha, interesting. I mean, it was always fun, but it was nice as a little bit of way to make some profit, especially during COVID, and in an interesting time in my career when the courts were closed, and I was needed something that was a bit more flexible with other things that were going on in my family. But now that I'm back in the law full time and doing that and running this campaign, and Sarah and I might bring another child in. I mean, there's a lot going on for me. So it was definitely fun before, but it was also nice to make a little bit of money on the side. So it's like a little side income. But now it's look. YouTube's always going to put ads on these videos. It is what it is. But I'm not having any other income coming in other than that. So yeah, and obviously, yeah, my days of review. I mean, I still might get a review copy of the Maze Knight expansion. I'm not sure. I got to talk to Paul. But other than that, I am turning down review copies. So there will not be a lot of new games on my channel. So if you come in here and you're like, "Oh, I love new games," like I still have a few games I'm going to get on the channel in the years to come, hopefully. But for the most part, it's going to be Maze Knight. It's going to be Primal. It's going to be Uprising. It's going to be Spirit Island, maybe. Obviously, I haven't featured that in a very long time. Too Many Bones, Cloudspire. I mean, those are my favorite games, and I'm just in a stage now where I just want to play my favorite games as much as possible. So, new hit song, "Back in the Law." Yeah, dude. All right. So at the end of the story phase, three things happened. Again, Quest 2 expired, Quest 36 expired, and we also got to upgrade our card pool. So upgrading our card pool, remember I had already gone down the E-track, the card pool. So here's our skill trees. So we upgraded the card pool the first time. We did E for both. I'm going to do E for both again. The second time you upgrade on any one of those paths, again, there are 5 paths, A, B, C, D, and E. So we are doing E2, the second upgrade in the E tree for both of our characters here. That does mean we also get another mastery card, which will give us a choice of to take which one we want to take into this battle. It means we also got two new skill cards, and that when we build our deck, that will be super helpful. Sadja says, "You realize you have to do the Maiden expansion. Come on, as soon as it hits Tabletop Simulator." Anabolic says, "Sell me on Uprising. I've been curious about the game for a while. I love it. I, I think Uprising is fantastic. I mean, Uprising is a top 5 game for me. I mean, maybe 6. If you Primal again, I absolutely love Primal. So, but it's clearly a top 10 for me. I think it's the components are bananas. I love the guys who did it. Remember, I did get a review copy of the base game and the first expansion. I purchased the second expansion and all like the modules and bells and whistles for that. But then they did send me the kind of the quality of life upgrades, like the player trays, the upgraded bits. They sent me that for free as well. So I want to make that sure that's clear. But I just think Uprising, the factions are super interesting. I think the dice rolling is there's a lot of mitigation there, which I really like. I think the monsters are all interesting, and then having to, figure out this way that it's like the enemy of your enemy is your enemy, and you have to like work to make sure that you come out ahead point wise of both of the factions that are out there, both the Chaos and the Legion. I think that's super interesting, and they fight each other, and there's just a lot of strategy. Every game's kind of different. The items are super interesting. The quests are a big part of the game, and it's like trying to figure out that puzzle and. That dice chucking, those dice are big and clunky and nice, but that dice chucking, as far as again, there's so much mitigation, especially if you have like the last expansion, which gives you some re-rolls and this and that that can, put you in a good place where like the decision space is pretty solid. So I'd be a big fan of that game. It can be expensive with all of it, so I definitely get that. But I would recommend watching a couple of my playthroughs. I'm not a huge fan of the Arch Nemesis system in it. That's the one thing that kind of misses for me at times. But the Arch Nemesis expansion does give you 4 new factions that are all great, or 2 new factions that are all great. So I would recommend it for that. Is it 4 or 2? I don't know. I think it might be 4. So I really like those a whole lot. Um, and then the new factions that came with the Titans of the First Age, they're crazy. They're totally different, very interesting mechanics. So the asymmetry is really nice. And even within each faction, there's a female leader and a male leader. And that they play very differently. So that's cool. So there's a lot of replayability there. And I just think, you know, the world that was built was super interesting. The art super interesting. Tom Dice Tower said it was like generic grim dark fantasy, and I was like, woof, like nothing about that game. That I think that might have been the worst review I've ever seen ever. Not even the worst Dice Tower review. It was just Tom Vasel's review of that game was just absolutely garbage. And it was funny. The first time I talked to those guys at Nemesis Games was like the day that video released, or the day after that video released, and I was like, "You guys had an interesting night." As you get, it's an absolutely terrible review. It's like, tell me like you played this game once and don't really know what you're doing. Yeah, it was unfortunate. It was an unfortunate review from one of the leading influencers in the industry. So that sucked. But yeah, the game's it's super good. So I would definitely watch a couple of playthroughs, and if it's not grabbing you, just buy something else. But if you're intrigued, I couldn't recommend it enough. Satchel says no amount of mitigation to balance the Greg factor. Yes, I agree. Someone give me a number, man. All right, we're gonna do 41 or 46 because they're interesting, and because they get us into the expansions. Ooh, that could be hard. All right. Well, I played both of these before. Give me a die. Booyah! Alright, I rolled a 4. So we're going to do the Ravenous Winter. Dun dun dun. That's right, kids. Ravenous Winter. A pack of Surkaj has come down from the far north and is attacking the outposts built in the cold lands of Vintrar. The commander has requested a team of hunters to protect the Seekers on a mission in the north. So we're going to find our monster board for the Surkaj, which I have no idea how to pronounce this, but we're going to go with it. There he is. Look how pretty he is. Oh, so cute. I want one. Let's bring it home. He is weak to nothing I have. That's a interesting dilemma. Let me check out the Hydar real quick. I might be switching this up because weaknesses are awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go in with no ability to mitigate my thing, dude. Because the Hydar would give me a 1-card mitigation. That could be super helpful. They're both really hard, though, dude. The venom mechanic is rough. I don't know. Alright, whatever. So when you look at weaknesses, you can see that this guy is weak to 3 different elements. And for every, so you have your weapon, your helm, your armor, and then your item. So if those 4 symbols on there match that, that means you can, for every 2 symbols that match, you can take away or add a card to your deck. And you're usually going to want to add, at least in my experience, and the kind of the strategies I take into this game. So since none of my elements match the weakness of the Surcaj, I'm just going to have a deck of 20 cards based on my weapons, and that's probably not great, but I think we're just going to try to make it work and see what happens. So, we're going to have to get the deck for the Surcaj, and I will have to go over to the big box on the other side of the room and get his mini. We are playing level 1. So we have our level 1 behavior cards, or actually they're not called behavior cards, they are called something, which I'm forgetting. But there's a permanent ability: when a player suffers damage, they discard the top 2 cards of their deck. That's not great, so we're going to want to play pretty defensively. There's also this permanent card, which says that if you play a green, you may place up to 2 of your exiled cards on top of your deck in the order you choose. Now, so exiled cards is an interesting mechanic. We haven't done that yet, so we'll see how that plays out. And then we have our level 1 stances. Stance 1, when we do 10 damage, we're going to do a wound. When we get down to 7 wounds, we flip over to stance 2. At the start of round 1, he's going to gain player -1 struggle. So at the beginning of the game, he'll effectively have 3 struggle, and I'll walk through that when we get there. All right. He cannot be attacked from the front, so you only can attack him from the flanks or from the rear. And we'll do that. And then we need to get his 9 behavior cards. Let me make sure I get the right ones. 6, 7, 8, 9. Are you the right ones? No. Those are not the right ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are you the right ones? Yes, there are symbols. There are essentially 6 levels of cards, and we want levels 2, 3, and 4 of those cards. Once we get to level 2, we're going to want 3, 4, and 5, and then once you get to level 3, you're going to want 4, 5, and 6, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't, that's it. It's the only explanation you get. All right. The whole thing about the Uprising Dice Tower review was a thing. Yeah, that was nuts. Mate says, hey, how's it going? Hope you feel well. Thank you, sir. Sadja says, anyway, I'm heading back to Voidfall. All the best to you. And Sadja says, and you feel the itch, not the heart-related related one. Ping me for a bit of Maze Night. And recently, I've been experimenting with 3 to 4 town setups in Solo Conquest. It has been good fun. And town equals city. Sure. Love it. All right, we're going to put these 9 behavior cards over here. Can I get these on camera at all? Probably not. I'll just put them over the top of the board, out of the view, and then we're going to put these down. And I'm going to put a reminder token here for when we get to the bottom, we have to add a struggle. So this means when a red card is played, we're going to trigger this behavior card. When the monster rotates, we're going to trigger this behavior card, and when any other behavior card is triggered, we have to trigger that rampage card. All right, so that is set up. Now I will be using these. If you look at the comments section of this video, Neal, I forgot his last name, but he works at he runs an Etsy shop. It's a Etsy print shop, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. There's like Gloomhaven organizers, and or Frosthaven organizers, if you will, and there's different like inserts for different games. I think there's an insert for Scout I saw on there, so bunch of stuff. But he does have these dials that you can use for health. So I'm just gonna use one of these. He reached out to me, asked if I could put a couple on the channel. Sure. So these were sent to me for free. I do like them. I think they're really smooth, and twist pretty easy. They're definitely pretty high quality. So I appreciate him taking the time to send them out. I think a pack of like 2 was like $5 or $4 or something. Silverfear says Bart song. What's that about? I mean, I know we talked about Bart's but like I'm trying to remember the comment I would have made for that to be a thing. Anyway, so instead of having to use these tokens for the monster, I will use these for Kara and Thoreg and stuff. But if you, instead of using the tokens for the monster, we'll just kind of keep track of damage using this. I'm trying to think of what looks the. I think this is going to come out the cleanest on the camera, so I will use this one as the biggest one, and we'll see where I can squeeze it over here. That should work, I think. That will help us kind of keep track of damage. All right. That's going to go over here. We start with 10 wounds. Remember, we have 10 rounds to kill the monster. So we start in round 1, and then I put this here as a reminder when every time the beginning of a round, near the beginning of a round at least, you're going to have to add some more struggle, and that will be 1 struggle per player. So that will be 2, because I'm playing with 2 hunters. All right, how am I going to do this? So we have Thoreg set up right now. Whenever I play a blue card, I can discard the top card of my deck. If that card is a red, I can add it to my hand. It's an interesting thing. I don't know if I'll be doing that too much. At the start of my turn, if my health is critical, I get to draw 1. If my health is critical, it essentially means my health is going to be this number plus this number, so my health is 10. So at the start of my turn, I have 5 or more damage on me. I get to draw another card. Now, if you get knocked out, then you're going to put this on there. That ability still applies, but now at the start of my turn, since my health is now reduced to 3, if I have 3 or more damage on me, that would be critical, so that would still apply. So critical is always relative to what your current max health is, and that again could be less than at the start of the round. When I discard a red from my hand to generate stamina, I automatically do 1 damage. Now I have to choose between these 2 things. Action, look at the top card of the behavior deck, max once per turn. I don't hate it. And then we have the electric dagger. When you avoid attrition damage, you may choose and discard a behavior card in play. If you do, replenish its behavior slot with the top card of the behavior deck. I don't know if I love that either. I mean, sure, we'll do Oculus, because why not? That's a thing. So we're gonna have to build our deck. Then we can choose between Overdrive or Massive Blow. Overdrive was the new mastery we just got. At the end of your turn, you may take a strain token. If you do, place a counter on this card. If I do that twice, it will flip over. And then Overdrive, when I discard a card from my hand to generate stamina, that card generates an additional stamina. Woof, and you may pay the stamina cost of a red. You may increase the cost by 1. If you do, you deal 1 weapon level damage. So it's going to be 1 additional weapon. Well, I guess it's just for playing stamina for anything. I can just ticky-tack do 1 damage at a time every time I pay for the stamina cost of an offensive card. Now, the offensive cards are the blue and the red cards. The defensive cards are the yellow and the green. If I don't do that one, we have Massive Blow. When you stun a monster, place a counter on this card, and then I would just be triggering extra damage whenever I play offensive cards. I think I'm going to stick with Massive Blow. I'm not a big fan of these strain tokens, especially. So strain tokens are these tokens that essentially mean your hand limit is going to be considered 1 less at the end of your turn, and then they go away, but it means you could have very few cards in a hand during a turn. And I like doing the extra damage just for playing blue cards. Blue cards, again, they allow you to reduce stamina when you play them, so that's super, super nice. All right, so let's pick our cards. Our deck is going to be 6 red, 5 blue, 4 yellow, 5 green. I'm adding this red from the E. So finisher, increase the damage of the attack by X. Weapon level max 7. If you pay 6 or more for this card, the monster is confused. Now, when a monster is confused, it just means when a behavior card has an upgrade, where you can spend stamina to do an additional thing, you would spend the stamina but not do that additional thing, and then the confused token would go away, I believe. Definitely check the notes in my last Primal video. If you watched it, there were a couple of small mistakes I made. One was to my disadvantage, one was to my advantage, I think. I don't think either would have had a big effect on the end result. And I'm not that worried about it if it would have. All right. So I have to get rid of one of these red cards. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's ability stun the monster. Definitely keeping that. Keeping that. None of these are thing. Base. Ooh, vulnerable. Super nice. Ooh, another player plays red. Red. That works well with Kara. This removes some struggle. This is not good because I can't attack in the front. Alright, we'll do that. Get rid of this. I need 5 blues. There's 6 here, because remember I had extra cards in my deck last time. Stun the monster is good. I can cancel the effects of behavior card. Blue red is so increase the damage of the attack the shield by 3. For the trackers on the Etsy page. Yeah. Sure, they're all over it. Probably not, but you can try it. All right, that's a 0 cost blue. I'm going to keep it. All right, I'll keep those 5. Get rid of this card. I need 4 yellows. I have 5 here. This card does not count your hand limit. That makes sense. That makes sense. That will go away. And then 5 greens. I have 2 special ones. We'll keep both of those. And by means they were from the upgraded. That makes sense. I don't love that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the strain tokens. All right, so this should be 20 cards here. You could not make any special additions. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Again, because I don't have the right weaknesses. These cards will just go away. And again, I'm not going to craft any equipment because I want to make sure that I have maximum amount of materials to craft level 2 equipment for the next chapter. Yeah, I forget the how the damage system works in Bard Song. I remember. Yeah, it's very little I remember about that game. To be honest with you, I just didn't play it enough. I mean, I played enough to get it on a channel and know the rules, and got to a couple, like one of the end bosses, I think, maybe 2. You know, it just got some really weird decisions, and it's absolutely freaking massive. Like it's like these board game publishers are like, everyone owns a table the size of a swimming pool, because they just make these games bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. All right, so Thoreg is set. I do need to spend some stuff to get him some potions, so let's figure that out. Thoreg, we have 2 Taramet, 1 Albalacea, 1 Anthemone, and 1 Silicorns. I don't think we're going to be able to buy 3 potions, which isn't great. We are definitely going to want an Alamore. We can spend any 2 potions for that. This is one of the things about this game that's a little clunky. So we have to get our level 1 Herbalist card. Here we go. And that will help. All right, so any 2 plants for the Alamore. Pyria, I don't have any Nilia, so I can't get an Pyria. I have a Taramet. I could get an Erden. Hatrix is, I don't have any Nilia, so I can't get that. Evok, I could get, and I don't have any Melis, so I can't even get a Vidya. Can't even get a Vidya, guys. Nope. Not feeling the evoc. Suffer damage to get +3 damage to the end of the round. It's interesting. Imperia suffer damage to draw 2. Let me get an Imperia. Now I could trade 1 herb to Kara and get 1 herb back from here, but that's fine. So I'm spending the 1 Anthemone. Again, potions are single use. Oh, I can't even get an Imperia. Never mind. I can't get an Imperia. I lied. No Imperia for me. I guess I'm getting a Hatrix. Hatrix is going to be... Nope, I can't get a Hatrix. I'm just full of lies, guys. Liar! Can I get a Vidya? No, I can't get a Melis. Sure. So I can get an Alamore, I can get an Evoc, or I can get an Erdis. Gain a defense token. Erden. Oof. It's not crazy. Sure. So I'm going to spend the Taramet and a thing. I can get an Evoc. How many? I only have 5, so I'm literally getting 2 potions. So the question is, do I want an Evoc or an Erden? I'll take the I'll take the Erden, and I'll buy an Alamore. So the Erden's going to cost me a Taramet. I'm going to spend 2 Taramet, actually, because 1 will be for the Alamore, and then the Erden's going to cost me a Salicornia, and I'll spend the Albacea as a second element for the Alamore. The Alamore is a healing potion. Potions are bought. Here we are. Alright, these can come back here. So, what do we got? Kara, make it happen. She has her 2 masteries. The 1 mastery is the new one I got, is when I suffer damage, I can reveal 2 red cards from my hand to place a counter on this card. If I, at the end, so I can increase my hand size by 1, and then every time I take damage, so this is retaliate. I think it has to be monster damage. Of course, retaliate is not defined on my card, because why would it be? Retaliate. Yeah, whenever I take monster damage, if I reveal 2 reds from my hand, I deal weapon damage. Now, that's not weapon level damage, it is weapon damage. I'd be doing 3 damage every time. I really like that. The other one is Piercing Dash. Whenever you overrun, deal your base weapon damage or draw 1. Let's do the Blade of Vengeance. I'm a fan of vengeance. Let's be vengeful. Be vengeful. That's what I like. All right. We're going to have to get some red cards, so we can take 6 red cards with our Dragon Wings. We had 7 here. When you empty your deck, Dragon Wings gets +1 damage, max 4 times a game. So every time we go through our deck, now the weapon damage will be 4, and then it'll be 5, then it'll be 6, etc., etc. So we have to drop one of these cards. This is a special one, so we're obviously keeping that. We like cheap cards. Remember, she has this Blade Dance thing, so if we play 3 offensive cards in a row, or 2 offensive cards in a row, we do 3 damage. 4 offensive cards in a row, we do 5 damage. 6 offensive cards in a row, we do 7. Now, your sequence can normally only be 5, but there are a lot of cards that will allow you to draw, to increase your hand limit. She also has a lot of chain abilities, which makes things a lot cheaper, which is super nice. We'll play those. And if I play this card, then a blue, remove a struggle. We can chain that after a yellow. And this allows us to overrun. We are a big fan of that. Draw 2, then discard a card from your hand. Nah, it's fine. We're going to lose that. We have 4 blue cards. I think I have 5 here. None of these are special. That's nice. Your cards gain stealth at the end of the turn. That could be good. You may discard your card. Generate stamina for a movement. You may overthrow a monster instead of moving. If you do, remove a struggle. Chain. Only 4 blues is great, but alright, I dig that. We need 5 yellows. You may suffer damage. Sure. If you do draw 2, remove 2 struggle. When you would suffer damage, you can discard half that damage and draw 1. Don't love that. You may immediately discard this card or your hand to immediately overrun the monster. Increase your sequence limit by 1. That could be interesting. That could be good. And 1 more. Do that one. And then we need 5 greens. That's special. The rest of these are not. When the monster changes orientation, you may discard this card from your hand to draw up to your hand size limit. That could be interesting. Increase your sequence limit by 1 this turn. That's good. If I play 2 reds, I can reclaim that from my discard pile, and that chains after a red. Great. So there should be 20 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Ah. It's a special card. Maybe I keep that one. Red. Yeah, we'll do it this way. It's fine. All right. Keep all the special cards. So again, you start with 24 summary starter cards. So there's 6 of each color, and then as you get to upgraded weapons, because your starter weapon has 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. That's correct. So 6 of each color as your starting hand, or starting deck. But then once you get to upgraded weapons, you start. Usually the weapons will give you access to 20 cards, and then that could be augmented again by the elements on the items that you have. Well, the item, the helmet, the armor, and the weapon. All right, so we're trying to do a lot of stunning with Thorax. Stunning is when we basically put a token on one of the behavior cards and say that card will not trigger this. It's just not going to trigger this round. There's also when you stun, you can have one of the players. You can choose a player, so yourself or the other player, to reveal a number of red cards from their hand, and up to 2. And for each red card revealed, you do weapon damage, not weapon level damage. Absolutely weapon damage. That could be really strong and a way to add a lot of damage. So, but you have to reveal attack cards specifically, so 2 red cards. So Kara be finished shuffling this in a second, and now she's going to buy stuff that she has an Alamore from the last time we played that we did not use, so she does get to keep that, which is super nice. And put that there, and we're gonna have to buy other stuff. So you can't have 2 of the same potion of the same level. So I could buy a level 2 Alamore, then next round, if I don't use this one, and have 2 Alamores level 1, one level 1, one level 2. But otherwise, you really have to know that you only have you can only have 1 of the potion for each level. So this is when I empty my deck. Dragon Wings gets +1 damage. When I empty my hand, I deal 3 damage, which is nice. When I discard a red card from my hand to generate stamina, I deal a damage. And if I pay for an offensive card with red, I increase the damage the attack. Oh, sorry. When I pay for a red card, if I pay for it with an offensive card, so blue or red, I increase the damage the attack deals by 2. And that's a flat 2. We have our Alamore. We'll probably want to get a Hatrix if I can. Again, a Hatrix costs me a Melis. I do have a Melis, so that's going to be a no-brainer. And we're going to buy an Imperia, I think, as well. The Imperia is going to cost me that. Oh, that would be both my Melis. So I can't get an Imperia, but I can get a Vidia. Do I have? I don't have a Melis, and I'm saying Nilia and Melis wrong. So, it's a thing. I can't get that. I don't want an Evox. I can't get an Imperia. What's it? Evoc, Terramet. I don't have any Melis, so I can't get. Oh, I could get an Evoc. Great. So the Hatrix is going to cost me the one Nilia I have, and then one of my Salicornias, and then the Evoc's going to cost me a Taramet, and one of my Athamones. Alright, so she's maxed out with her 3 potions. Again, max of 1 item, 3 potions, an armor, a helmet, and a weapon. So these potions can go over here. I'll be back in 1 second with our friend, Mr. Sarkaj. And we're back. All right, we got our friend. He's nasty. Look at him. And he's got some little red paws here, some spikes on that tail. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I would not bring this dude home. All right, we have this. Let me turn to what were we at? Number 46. Number 46 again is from the Northern Stars campaign book. So we're going to open this up. Again, this is one of the expansions. Quest scenario number 46. Introduction. You march quickly over the snowy ground of the Ventrarian tundra. Before you, a white and barren land stretches as far as the eye can see to the extreme north of the known lands. A biting, icy wind blows, and your boots sink heavily into the snow. It is a still, dark night, and only the twinkling of the stars and their iridescent colors can pierce the gloomy, depressing air that surrounds you. What is said about the northern sky is true. These remote places offer a glimpse into a unique, dreamlike celestial landscape. The firmament of Thyrea seems to light up with life, to contrast the ghostly, hmm? Sorry, I lost my place. Ghostly panorama of these lands, which has been strangled of all vitality by the grip of frost. You feel drawn to that vivid, ethereal sky. It is first day with my new mouth. It is as if some power is filtering through those iridescent chinks and trying to reach you through the light of the constellations. The outposts were built in these remote lands at the northernmost point explored by humankind in order to unravel the mysteries of the sky there. The edge of the world, they call it, today the scene of the bestial battle with the monsters and creatures that live there. You come to a halt. In front of you, the evidence of that battle is real and brutal. You race forward to what remains of the Seeker's outposts, which has been utterly destroyed. Mira does a quick recognizance of the surrounding area and then returns to get your attention. There are footprints in the snow leading away from the attack site. You follow the tracks in the snow until you see a shadow moving among the ice encrusted bushes. A lone cercage, its jaws still stained with blood, moving furtively. It is hunting something. Its breathing is frantic, and it is nervously sniffing at its prey. There is no time to lose. Driven by your anger toward the creature, you grit your teeth, unsheathe your weapons under the reflection of the northern stars. Your roars resound in the gloomy silence of winter. Dun dun dun! All right, exciting stuff. Oh, nope, don't put that away, Greg. You need more information. What do we need? We need one Beathanus. So now I made this tray here with all of the um, things. What do they call the flora? I don't know. I forget what they call this. But so we need one Beathanus, which is going to go right there. Additionally, we're going to need 2 rocks and then 4 ice. So we don't need anything else from that tray. The 2 rocks, one's going to go here. Now, rocks can be used to prevent attrition damage, which is nice. Could be important, especially the thing making it discard cards. And the 4 ice, I have the ice in a little container over here. If I could open it, apparently not. Come on, dude. There we go. First day with my new fingers. And we have an ice here, an ice here, an ice here, and an ice here. Oh my, what does the ice do? I don't really know. We're going to have to look that up. So to look that up, we're going to go to the rule book for this expansion. So that is the ice expansion. Shocking. Appropriately named. And the rulebook for the ice expansion tells us that ice does the following. At the end of your turn, if you are in a sector with an ice terrain and are threatened, exile the top card of your action deck. See the word exile. When you're instructed to exile a card, put that card in your exile stone. Each player has an exile zone, which is a game zone outside the field of play. Interactions with exiled cards are dictated exclusively by card abilities. So we do not want to be threatened. So essentially, if we get threatened, which means we have one of these tokens, means the monster's honing in on us, and we end our turn in any sector, because all 4 of these sectors have ice, then we're going to have to take a card, boop, and just put it out of play. And again, one way we get that back in play is by playing 2 green cards in a row, but I do have only 5 green cards in both of my decks, so just try not to do it. Glaciation Track is for Murmurak. That's fine. Good. Put that rule book over there. We might need it, but that's everything I need from here. Now, what's Bethanius? Well, good question. Bethanius was a wee little man, was he? No, that's not right. Bethanius was at the start of your turn. If you are in a sector with a Bethanius terrain, heal damage equal to your weapon level. Again, weapon levels are only 1. So essentially you start there, you get to heal 1. How exciting for everybody. Now I'm going to draw 5 cards for both of my hunters here. And I'll kind of keep them down here, and then we'll use this as our sequence display for the turns, or the respective turns of our 2 hunters. We have the first player token over here with Thoreg, which means he also gets the Primal token. And then we'll have a round structure that I think I can fit on camera right there. That's perfect. We have these 10 attrition cards. The 10 attrition cards, again, 6 of them are, nope, 5 of them are 1s, 3 of them are 2s, 1 is a 0, and 1 is a 3. That will determine whether or not we get monster damage at the appropriate time every turn. And the other thing it does for us is it monster damage every turn. I forget. I don't know. There's a word. Oh, it tells us how many defensive cards we want to play in a round to prevent that monster damage during the attrition phase. The monster damage at the beginning of the game, at this point now it could be modified, but at this game it is only 1. So when we take monster damage, we suffer 1 damage. But don't forget, when we suffer that 1 damage, we also have to discard 2 cards from our deck. Every time we go through our deck, we have to take fatigue damage. So there is kind of a spiral we would like to avoid, especially when we only have 10 health each at this point in the game. All right. Bam, bam, bam. So put the attrition deck over here. Both of our hunters start here. Note I just did a pretty much a dry brushing kind of almost sun droppy-esque thing for the monsters. I did not go highly detailed. For the hunters, I mean, I did not go highly detailed because who's got that kind of time? Not me. Let's make it happen. So we are going to go through our round order here. So at this point, we have a consume phase. And the consume phase, that is the time that we can choose to use one of our potions. Do we want to use one of our potions? I would rather not. So we're not going to go through our potions at this point. We're going to hold on to them, especially since Thorek here only has 2 for the entire game. Anyway, after that, we're going to go to the next phase, behavior refresh. At that point, we would take the lowest number from here. We would put that off into the discard pile of the behavior deck, and then we would replace that with something new. But we do not do the behavior refresh in the first round of the game. The monsters in the game 1 struggle per player, so he gains 2 struggle. Now remember also we had at the start of round 1, Sir Hodge gains number of players minus 1 struggle, so that's why I put 3 struggle there. If he ever gets to 3 times the number of players, so 6, advanced math for y'all, if he gets to 3 times the number of players, at that point he would do an unleash. When he unleashes, he would attack us all characters, all hunters, with monster damage, and then he would reduce down to 2 struggle or 1 struggle per player. So that's a thing. So unleashing can be bad. Again, we only have 10 health, so we want to avoid unleashing as much as possible. And the best way to do that is to play blue, or the easiest way to do that is to play blue cards if you have them. And now we go to our player turns. So we are now in the movement phase for Thorak. Now remember, I cannot attack from the front. I have to attack from either the flanks or the back. So we are gonna want to move. I'm looking at my cards here. Well, first, is anything going to be? Do I have an opportunity to stun? Is anything going to be triggered at the beginning of my turn? No, nothing's triggered there. We're totally good. So I want to move. We have a finisher. We have this can only play after a red. We have this Iron Will. Remember, cards have either a red symbol on the top right, which would mean that you would take the aggro token. Thoric is already the aggro player. I think I want to do... I can't do green, green. Might be good to try to prevent attrition. I could just do that. I'm not sure I want to discard 2 cards, but you know, it is what it is. When I play a red, though, a behavior card will reveal. I don't remember what this... Oh, I can look at the top card of the behavior deck. Let's look at that. So if you start in front, We want to learn these night cards. The active player has 5 or less cards in their deck. They suffer damage and exile the top card of their deck. If the round marker is 5 or higher, certain cards becomes vulnerable. That's nice. And then if you spend 1 struggle during the action phase of this turn, the active player must either play a defensive card as their first card of their sequence or suffer damage. So now we know what that's all about. So we've looked at that one thanks to the Oculus. Now that says action, which means I could do it during the action phase, limits once per turn. So I did it during this turn. My health was not critical, so I could not draw 1. I probably won't be doing that. So how do I want to pull this off? When I discard a red card from my hand to generate stamina, I deal the damage. That's nice. This can only, well, this is the finisher. If I move, play for that with that, I get to draw 2. Alright, I'm going to generate stamina with the sledgehammer and play just to move. So I generated stamina to move. When I generated stamina, I did discard a red card. So I'm going to do 1 damage to our friend, the Sirkaj, right? We want to get up to 5 damage per player to get our first wound. Now I'm over here. I'm going to use this blue card. It gives me 1 stamina. Remember, the bottom left is how much stamina is generated if you discarded. The top left is how much stamina that card itself costs. I'm going to use this. I love that ability, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to take advantage of it right now. So I'm using this blue to pay for Iron Will. Now, Iron Will is an aggro card. I'm already the aggro player, so no effect there. Iron Will says draw 1 card, but if I play with a blue, I draw 2 instead. So I'm going to draw 2 more cards. 1, leverage, draw cards equal to the amount of struggle tokens on the monster. Right now, that's 3. And then we have this, decisive effort, increase the damage the attack deals by 3 if I play this before a red card, right? So I think I will. Let's just do a ton of damage right now. Just gonna and get a fair amount of defensive cards out there too. So I'm going to use leverage. Now, again, if you overpay for a card, the overpay is just lost. So it is what it is. So I'm going to discard leverage. So it gives me 2 stamina. I'm going to use one of those 2 and just lose the other one to pay for decisive effort. That gives me a 2nd defensive card. And then I'm going to discard deep breath to give me 3 stamina to pay for Strike Storm. Now, Strike Storm is an X cost, so I use 3. So X, so I spent 3 stamina, so effectively it has a 3 cost for this turn. So it's a finisher, which means it has to be the last card I play, which is not defined there, but that is what it means. And then it says increase the damage the attack deals by X, max 7. If you, oh, did I discard another red? I did not. So we're doing weapon damage. My weapon damage is 5. Then I discarded I spent 3 more, so that's going to be 3 more because my weapon level is 1. So 5 plus 3 because it was 3 stamina, and plus another 3 because I get 3 extra weapon level because it's a red following this yellow, and that's the ability of decisive effort. So we're doing 5 plus 3 plus 3 is 11 damage, gets us up to 12. Essentially, I'm going to do 1 wound, and that gives us a remainder of 2. And that is great. All right, now if I ended my turn with 2 cards in my hand, I would get a stamina token, which would give me 1 more stamina to play next turn. Unfortunately, I played all the cards in my hand, and so now we're going to go to the next step of the thing, because I have no more cards in my hand to do any more actions. We go to the attrition phase. In the attrition phase, we're going to flip over the top card of the deck. It's 2. I have 2 defensive cards. I don't take damage. And remember, at the end of my turn, I wasn't threatened, so I don't have to worry about having to exile the card, which would be the effect of the ice that's there. All right. So now we're going to put these cards in my discard pile. We put them in my discard pile in the order played. We draw cards until my hand limit. My hand limit is 5. We get stamina boost, disruption. When another player plays red, I can stun the monster, which is something I probably will want to do actually as soon as possible. Because I want to get massive blow open. We have Whirlwind, and we have Perseverance. Now I'm doing that slowly. There is a green card that does not count toward my hand limit, so I would be able to draw another card. Alas, though, I did not pull it. Now the monster turns to face the aggro player. Look at him go. He's like, haha, I face you now. Great. Oh, I messed up. So a bunch of things should happen first. So when I played Finisher, I triggered this. He gains 2 struggle. The active player becomes threatened. And if that player is already threatened, he suffers damage. So I am threatened. All right, so that changes a bunch of things. And then when that triggered, this also triggered. Circa turns to the player who currently sustains the most damage. No one has damage. That player suffers damage unless they discard a green from their hand. I think we would. So at that point, like since they have no damage, we can choose, and we're supposed to choose what's worse, objectively worse for us. Since Kyra has damage on her, has a green card on their hand, I would assume that with Thoreg would be worse for us. So at that point, Sirkaj would turn. I would suffer damage, so I could not discard a green card from my hand, which is fine. And these would now go away. These would be replaced. But then now this would also trigger because he moved. Each player in the rear sector, no player in the rear sector, so this doesn't happen, would suffer damage unless they discard a green from their hand. If there are no players in the rear sector, players in the flanks are targeted instead. Great. I'm going to suffer the damage. I don't want to discard a green. And now I reveal red to place a counter on this card. I want to get these open as soon as possible. These masteries, they are built to get open within the first 2 or 3 rounds if if things are coming together well for you. The other thing that's going to change though, now when a red's played, that comes out. We remember we already looked at this one, so we know what that does. 5 or less cards in their deck. So that's a thing that's going to matter more later. But since we were threatened here, 2 things happen. Oh, shoot. Let me read the rules for ice again. And everything's random, so I'm not going to worry about the deck order at this point. If it was discard pile, it might be a little different. At the end of your turn, if you're in a sector of the ice terrain, and end of your turn, so at the end, I assume that would be the end. It doesn't say like when the end of turn is triggered, so we'll play it at the end. So at that point, since I am threatened and I am in a sector of ice terrain, I do have to discard I do have to exile a card. So this is now off in a different sector of the board. I'll just put that up there as an exiled card. All right. So if I play green, I can get up to 2 of my exiled cards back, put them on top of my deck in any order. So sorry I missed that. That's a whole bunch of things. But since we're threatened, we pull a second card off of this. It's a 1. We would take the worst one. I still had 2 defensive cards, so I still did not take any damage. It just means we now wasted a 1, unfortunately. So that was a lot. Let's get back to the game here. Do I want to stun this guy? Probably. This means that when a player becomes threatened, that was not in play. Thoreg was already threatened before that would have come out, so we don't have to worry about that. But it does mean that we definitely want to move with Kara and get her out of there. So we want to move. When we discard a red from our hand to generate stamina, we can deal 1 damage. When we pay for a red with an offensive card, we get to deal 2 damage. Oh, he suffered damage, or he would have had to discard 2 cards. And she suffered damage, so she would have to discard 2 cards. All right, so we're discarding 2 cards from Kara. That doesn't change the order of anything. These were in the sequence. He would have suffered damage when he paid the red, so he would have had to discard 2 cards and then exile the card again. The shuffling is random. I'm not going to try to stress and try to figure out how that worked out. So he discarded 2 cards. She discarded 2 cards. That's permanent when we suffered damage. So he would have discarded 2 blues, actually, which is a thing. Now notice Zerkaj is definitely getting up to 6 stamina. I wish there was a way to do something about that. This is stealth, which is nice. All right, we got to figure out how to do this. So I'm going to discard the green for stamina and move to the rear. All right. That didn't trigger because I wasn't in the front. If I play a red, I will trigger. If I stayed where I was, that would have triggered because it would have been me getting threatened. I'm going to play am I going to be able to get 3 cards on my sequence? I don't think so. And I think we are. I think we're just going to have to get unleashed on, unfortunately. So I'm going to play Backstab. Backstab has stealth, right? So it's not going to trigger anything that relies on red cards or offensive cards. If it was aggro and there was an aggro thing out, it would still trigger it. But anything that relies on, again, the type of card, recurring red, offensive, blue, whatever, it's just not going to trigger. All right. So I'm going to deal. It's an attack card, so I'm dealing 3 damage. So we get up to 5 here. And again, that was stealth. I'm going to then play Blade Rush. Now that would trigger that, but hold on. So first things first, we're going to do the could put the 1 there. First things first, that's 2 offensive cards, so it's going to deal 3 times weapon damage, so it's going to deal 8. We're going to get up to 8 damage there, because I did 3 more damage because of Battle Dance. The second thing that's going to happen, now all these things are when, so these are, again, every card's like multi-use. I didn't use them for those things. I'm using it for these other things. I'm going to deal 3 weapon damage because it's a red card. So that gets me up to 11 on here, but it's a remainder of 1, and we have a wound. We're down to 8. I'm also going to play this. When another player plays a red in their sequence, I could discard this card to stun to stun the monster. I do want to do that. So we're not. What are we going to stun? Well, we're obviously going to stun that to make sure that doesn't trigger, and then I could choose another player to reveal myself or another player to reveal red cards in their hand. I'm going to choose myself. I reveal 1 red card, and that lets me do 5 damage. So we're up to 6. Now I'm going to try to prevent damage. We'll see. I mean, there are 4 1s and a 0 in there, so 5 of the remaining 8 cards. I'm going to discard this red to pay for, when I discard a red from my hand to generate stamina, I do a damage, so we're up to 7. and that's going to let me play the Wall of Blades. Now, if I had 3 or more cards in my sequence, I could play this card without paying a stamina cost. I only had 2, so that was unfortunate. So again, I'm not going to get the stamina token for having 2 cards in my hand at the end of the round, but it hopefully gives me a little bit of chance to avoid the damage, especially because I don't have red in my hand, so I'm not going to be able to hit this Blade of Vengeance. I only have 2 more red cards in my deck too, which isn't great. So when I empty my hand, I deal 3 damage. So that's going to be a thing that works. So that gets us up to 10. That goes down to 0 because we do a wound. And that's going to trigger something. So remember, when you empty your hand, deal 3 damage. I have no more cards in my hand, so I did empty my hand. So we get to the second stance. We did 3 wounds this round. This goes away. This comes out. When revealed, Cirque has gained struggle equal to the number of exiled cards. There is 1 exiled card, so he gains 1 struggle. So that comes out, which means he unleashes. When he unleashes, he's going to do 1 damage to. He's going to do attack damage to each of us. So 1 damage to Thorag. Since Thorag suffered damage, he discards 2 cards. It's going to do 1 damage to Kara. She discards 2 cards. That's another red, so that's unfortunate. So it might be hard to get 2 reds back in my hand, so we'll have to definitely work on that. Oh, the important thing of the stun, too, is I do put a counter on here, so we're 1 away from Thoreg having their mastery. And now we reveal the second, I think they're peril cards? I forget, they have a name. They have a name. All right, Unleash. Players with 5 or less cards in their deck suffer 2 times damage instead of 1 times damage from a leash. These are, I think that's still the proper order because this would trigger. So that's when revealed. We added the thing, then the unleash happens, and then the peril cards revealed. So I'm pretty sure that would not apply until the next time, which is fine. So now we have another behavior card. Again, these permanent cards still remain as they are. All right, so we are now going to need 12 damage to inflict a wound, and we're going to be in stance 2 until we get down to 2 wounds left. Right, we still cannot attack from the front. We still need to be in the flanks or in the back. So that was a whole lot of stuff. We got to the what was that? That was the end of the turn. Again, we emptied our hand. We did the thing. We're good. We're now going to go to the attrition phase. It's a 2. That sucks. So we are going to take 1 damage. That gets us up to 3. When I suffer damage, that's only from Unleash. I have to discard 2 cards from my deck. I wish I played. Oh, that's another red. Wolves. Like all my red cards are out. That's not good. And now we're going to discard all the cards in our sequence. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to lose those stones just yet. And now we're going to draw to our hand limit, which is 5. I don't think this was, yeah, all red and greens. I have no exiled cards. I wasn't threatened, so I don't have to worry about exile, but yeah, this is crazy. So when reclaim, yeah, red. So the deck order of my deck definitely came out a little strange. But hopefully we can figure that out. Oh, did I play an aggro card? I did, so I would have taken the aggro token at that point. All right. The monster's going to face the aggro player, so he turns to face Kara. Kara's like, what's up? And that's cool. We're now at the end of the round. Is there anything that's going to be triggered at that point? Nope. We look good, except the stun token will go away. We're going to go to round 2. At the beginning of round 2 is a consume phase. So the attrition level is 2, so we wouldn't be getting max level out of our Alamore. Alamore, you can heal 2 or 4 if the attrition level is 1 or less. We're still okay with health. I could suffer damage to make my weapon have +3. That doesn't make any sense. I could try to get a defensive card out of my deck. That doesn't make sense. Unleashing's not going to be great. Again, a defense token. Don't hate that. Try to prevent attrition damage here. Unleashing for both of them is not going to be good because they both have very few cards left in their deck right now. So I'm not going to consume anything. We're going to go to the behavior refresh. The 3 goes away. And that gets replaced with this. And that symbol means, I think, at the attrition phase, that automatically triggers. Go to our cheat sheet at the end of the attrition phase. Yeah, so that's going to trigger automatically unless there's a stun effect, but I doubt that's going to happen. The first player token is going to go to Kara because she has the aggro token. And then we're going to add 1 struggle per player, so that gets us up to 4. So, how can we remove struggle? Yeesh. Well, that's interesting. Kind of like that, kind of hate it, but all right. So dude's facing me. I'm going to play. I'm going to discard Blade Charge for a stamina to move. I'm going to move myself back here. Maybe get some healing. I'm now going to... oh, never mind. First and foremost, I'm in the front, so this would have triggered. The active player has 5 less cards in their deck. I do have 5 less cards in my deck, but I don't want to suffer damage. So we're going to play, when a behavior card is revealed, I can discard this card from my hand to immediately overrun the monster. Oh, that's not going to help. That does nothing for me. Ugh. Gross. Alright, when behavior card is revealed, never mind. So I have 5 or less cards in my deck. I suffer damage, which is 1, and exile the top card of my deck. So I'm going to suffer 1 damage. I could round it down and draw 1, but woof. And then the Surcaj is going to pay 1 struggle. During the action phase, the first card I must play must be defensive or I suffer a damage. And then this comes out. So now red cards are really bad. Woof. Immediately move. Alright, I'm discarding Blade Charge now to move. Definitely need to heal a little bit. The first card on my sequence has to be red, or has to be defensive, or I suffer damage. Again, that was the Frost Jaws. So I will play Iron Hedge for 1 stamina to play Fighting Spirit. Oh, when I suffered damage 2, I would have discarded 2 cards. That was before I moved. And now I can suffer damage. I am going to choose to suffer damage, so I'm up to 5. And I'm doing that so I can remove 2 struggle. Alright. But when I suffer damage again, remember I have to discard the top 2 cards of my deck. I'm now at the bottom of my deck, which means my weapon gets +1 damage. These plus damage things are very strange increments. All right, so that's now doing 4 damage a pop. I'm going to take a damage, which is, it's just fatigue damage, so it's not attack damage this time. But I took the damage to remove the 2 struggle. That is an aggro card. I'm already the aggro player, so that's fine. And I could just hope this is a 1 again. We suffered damage like 6 times, but fortunately, it's not the greatest of timing here. It's going to be another card revealed with the attrition phase, which I don't love. Hold on one sec. All right, got there just in time. I think I'm going to hold on to these 2 cards and risk it. Oh, I had to exile a card from my deck too. Damn it. Shh. What card did I not see? I know I didn't see this one, so we'll just hope that was. It's a green card, chain 1. I know I didn't see that one, so we'll just. I mean, there's a chance that was discarded. I know it couldn't have been a red. So I was supposed to exile a card, and then when I suffered damage, I was supposed to discard 1 more. So yeah, I suffered the damage and didn't exile. My fault. Lots of little rules in this game sometimes. All right, so that, and then discard a card. Of course, it's red. Woof. This is really not good. It's fine. I'm gonna chill there. So we exiled 1 card because of that. I did suffer the damage. I just forgot to exile, and now our deck is at least recreated. So we're gonna do the attrition phase. Oh, it's another friggin' 2. Wow. Alright, we suffer a damage. We discard 2. No more reds, which is good. And now we're going to draw up to our hand limit, which is 5. Give me 2 reds, please. Nope. There you go. Beautiful. We're going to discard this. And then at the end of the attrition phase, so I actually don't have these 3 cards yet. End of the attrition phase, we have to reveal this. Biting Cold. 1. The top player exiles the top card of the deck. So we do have 2 cards in exile, so playing 2 greens would be important. Of course, if I have 2 greens over there, if there's 2 greens here, that's going to be hard. Now we're going to get rid of that, replace it with this. You play a yellow. We have to reconstitute the behavior deck, which means we have to add 1 struggle. All right, so we have 2 cards in exile. And now we draw to our hand limit, which gives me a red, and a red. And then that's out, and then he turns to face the active player. All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. Forget it. Spare you me snorting. Do not have any of my stun cards in my hand, which is a little bit unfortunate. I could look at that Rampage card again because I genuinely forget the heck it is. Why? Well, if they gave it Oculus, the player with the most damage, that player suffers damage unless they discard a green, which is fine because then I can reclaim it with 2 reds. So most damage. That's actually not terrible. Those reds are bad though. Definitely have to move. My health is not critical. That is a lot of reds. All right, I'm going to discard this card to move. So I'm not doing an attack right now. I move there. Since I discard a red to move, that does let me do 1 damage because I generated stamina with that. So we both have the Thunder Helm here. I'm going to use Whirlwind to play Stamina Boost. Reduce the stamina cost of the next defensive card I play by 1. Why do I care about red cards, green cards again? I don't know. It's fine. Then I'm gonna. So that lets you play Perseverance. That lets me draw a card. Ah, that would have been good. Because we knockout. I do like having knockout on my hand, but I have 2 defensive cards, and I think that's just gonna be my turn. Since I played 2 greens. Oh, the order. What's the order here? So I could draw 1, and then I could get an exile card and put it back on top of my deck. Limitless stamina. Nice. Where's the card I really want? I must have had a discard it when I took damage. Yeah, discarding cards when you're taking damage is no bueno, man. This monster is annoying. All right. So we go to the attrition phase. Oh, it's the 3. That's so annoying. Of course it's a 3, which means that I was going to use the Alamores, but it means that the attrition deck is better for the next few rounds, but woof. Aggro player is still Kara, by the way. So, interesting. So that's a thing. I take the damage. I have to discard 2 because I suffered damage. Again, I haven't been threatened in a while, so I haven't had to worry about more exile cards that way. But a lot of not greatness. We haven't unleashed in a while, so that hasn't been a thing. We're going to go end of the turn. These go into my discard. We draw to my hand limit, which is 5. I take fatigue damage. So we did 3 wounds that first round, and none that last round, right? So you definitely see the cat and mouse game. This that you have to place on this. Oh, since I moved, I was no longer threatened. Yeah, it sucks. So we got rid of the 2 2s and a 3. I think we're actually rid of all 3 2s. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that attrition deck is real good. We just have to play 1 of those cards now. 1 defensive card every turn. I did have 2 cards left in my hand with Kara, so we have a stamina token. I only have 1 card left in my hand for Thoreg. So bam, bam, and bam. Oh, and Tenacity. This card does not count toward my hand limit. Deep breath. Here we go. Here we go. So end of the round. Nothing's going to trigger. We're going to go to the next round. We go down to round 3. We can consume. It's a 3. I'm really worried about her health, but I don't want to play an Alamore unless it's a 1, and we know that it's going to be a 1 next time. So I kind of want my cards back. I'm going to play this Evoc to discard a card from my hand to get a defensive card from my deck and add it to my hand. Blade Charge is great. And then we shuffle. Am I consuming anything over here? No. No need for a defensive token right now. And we're good. Man, we throw a lot of cards here. Yeah, we definitely didn't play an aggro token, so would have still facing the aggro player. We are going to do a behavior refresh, so the 1 goes away. This comes down. We know what this is. We looked at it last turn. The most damage, that player suffers damage. Let's discard a green. That's a lot of freaking red cards, man. Ugh, so bad. We'll see. Don't get knocked out, Kara. I mean, shoot. I think she uses the Alamore. We're just kind of in Danger Town right now. Yeah. But I use the Evoc. No, never mind. I just don't know what these are. I could discard. Not chaining very well. The chain ability is a card with this color could be played without paying attention because you play after. So I play a red, then I could play the Crescent Strike, and then I think I could do some other things. I think I'll be able to make this work. All right. So it's Kara's turn. Oh, then this comes down. We're gonna have this up to 3. So we are in round 3, and it's Kara's turn. Beginning of her turn, she heals 1 because of the plant. She has to move. I'm going to use this stamina token to move here to get to a flank. Remember, we can't attack from the front. I'm going to play anything with a red is totally gross. We don't really have much of a choice here. I'm going to play Blade Rush. That's going to do some things. So we reveal this. The active player suffers damage. Let's discard a defensive card from their hand. I only have 2 exiled cards. Well, it is what it is. But first and foremost, I actually have to carry this out. So I'm going to do 4 damage, which gets us up to 5. Again, 6 is now a 6 times number of hunters, so 12 is now a wound. So I did that. It's an aggro card, great. Then we do this. Active player suffers damage. Let's say we discard a card. I am going to suffer the damage for the sole reason of doing this. So I suffer 1 damage. When I suffer damage, I reveal 2 reds. That gives me a second counter, which lets me reveal my mastery. Now, every time I suffer damage, my hand limit's increased by 1. And every time I suffer damage, I can reveal 2 reds from my hand to retaliate, which allows me to do weapon damage. All right. I don't have 3 exile cards in my hand, so I don't have to worry about the rest of this. That flips. This also flips. This is Sakara's turn to the player as the most damage. They suffer damage unless they discard a card. Discard a red. Man. Which means I can't do any damage. Ugh. Unless I discard a green, I mean. When I suffer damage, I have to discard 2. Red, red. Jesus. Do I want to get up to 8 damage? So he's turning to me, which means, again, I'm now in his front, which is super annoying. take the damage, reveal these 2 cards, do weapon damage, which is now +4. I think I hold on to all of these, man. They're really good. One at least. I have to play at least one. Gross. All right, I'll discard this card. I won't suffer the damage. Yeah, I'll suffer the damage. So it gets me up to 8. And then when I suffer damage, I can reveal these 2 reds. And I do 4 damage back. So we're up to 9. Then I'm going to play 3 red cards in here already. Woof. So these go out. Now we're still on this red thing. These come in. This was not there when the red card was played, so it's not going to be played this turn. Now, if it was a rampage card, it would get triggered again. But that red will not carry out. But this will carry out. This is the active player becomes threatened. If the player is already threatened, they suffer damage. So awesome. That goes away, and then this would come out. What is this attrition card again? The active player exiles the top card of their deck. Woof. So I really want 2 greens, but I really can't suffer attrition. If I play this, I can move and I won't be threatened. And then I could get back here and get to the place where I'm going to get healed. I could play 2 greens, get 2 cards back. It's probably smarter. Alright. I don't love it. I can't attack from there, so I'm going to discard Crescent Strike to play Shadow Step. That lets me immediately move without playing its stamina cost. So I'm going to immediately move here. Since I moved, I'm no longer threatened. Lets us keep the attrition deck good for a while. Then I'm going to play Blade Charge. I don't need the defense, but that's 2 greens, so I get to take these cards, put them back on top of my deck in any order. Oh, that's actually really good. They're both good. We have an assist card over here. I do not, unfortunately. Then I'm going to have that, and I'm just 1 stamina short. But at least we got the cards out of exile, because that was getting annoying. And I'm back in a place where I'm going to be able to heal at the beginning of next turn. Plus, I'll be able to play the potion, so I should be pretty good there. So that was a weird turn. All right. End of that. We're going to go to the attrition phase. We're only drawing 1. It's a 1. I had 2 cards there, so I do not suffer attrition damage. Did I discard? Appropriately when I got hit again? That was my thing. Discarded this. Can't remember if because I took damage twice. I can't remember if neither was unleashed. I can't remember if I discarded 2 more cards. I think I still have to discard 2 cards. That came off. Suffered damage. Last turn, this turn. I didn't empty my hand either, which is annoying. So I didn't suffer. I didn't get the 3 damage there. And I don't have 2 cards left in my hand, so I can't get the extra stamina token. Oh, which is bad. I don't remember if I suffered damage. If I know I suffered damage twice. I don't remember discarding the cards the next time, so we'll do it one more time. Woof, and then these go on top. Alright, someone can tell me if I discarded too many cards. Who cares? Alright, we're gonna get to the next phase. Oh, attrition's done, so now this triggers. This goes down to 2. And I have to exile the top card of my deck. And this goes away when a player gets threatened. That's going to trigger. And then we draw our hand limit, which is 5. No more reds. Woof. That's not good. And that's not even a red. Yikes. All right. We now go to Thorek's turn. Oh, then he turns to face the aggro player, which is here. Thorek's not in the front, so that's not a thing. Stun the monster. That's a finisher. Great. So, we're going to move with Chase. When I discard a half card for stamina, I get +2 damage until the end of the round. So we get +2 from Chase. I'm going to move over here. So I'm in the flank. I can definitely attack from here. And I wasn't threatened, so I don't have to do the exile thing, even though I'm in the ice. Remember, because that's the nice thing about playing that green card, to let me immediately move in the middle of my turn. It let me get rid of that threatened token that the behavior card gave me. All right, I'm going to play. Do want to play 1 defensive card, so I might have to get rid of Tenacity, even though I love it, because it doesn't count toward my size. Yeah, we're going to play Tenacity because it's free. So there's a yellow card. Then I'm going to play. I'm going to discard Strike Storm to play Heavy Smash. That's going to give me the aggro token. I'm going to do 5 damage. So that gets us up to 14. So that's a remainder of 2 and a wound. It's a red card. So that's going to give me, I have to look at this. Zero cards gains 2 struggle. The active player becomes threatened. Woof. Alright. So that goes away. This comes down. That's another struggle, so we're up to 5. Oh, Heavy Smash does remove a struggle, so we're only up to 4, actually. And because I got threatened, this also triggers. It got another struggle because that wasn't clear because the deck ran out. Which is why I get the 5, but there's really only 4. This gets shuffled as soon as it's empty. All right, so that goes there. Now this reveals the active player discards the top 2 cards of their deck and exiles the first red they discard that way. The player with 3 or more exile, then players with 3 or more exile cards suffer damage. No one has 3 or more exile cards. So the active player discards 2 cards, did not discard a red, so that had no effect. And then that goes away, and then this comes down. It's a rampage card. All right, so we should be good with triggering things. Well, dude's gonna face me at some point, which is fine. Actually, I can prevent him from facing me. Or I can prevent that from triggering. If I prevent that from triggering, I can prevent that from triggering, which is nice. Now I'm going to discard Deep Breath. Oh, did I discard a red? I did discard Snowstorm. When I discarded a red for Generate Stamina, that would be another damage. My health's not critical, so that's the thing. Now I'm going to discard Deep Breath. Oh, and I do 2 more damage for the red card because I discarded Chase earlier. So we're actually up to 5. All right, now I'm discarding Deep Breath to play Knockout. Couple things happen there. So I'm going to put a stun token on this. When I stun, because I stun the monster because I played this after our red card, I can have Kara reveal this to deal 4 damage as part of the stun effect. That's up to 9. Then the knockout itself is going to do 5 damage plus 2, so 7 damage. So that's up to 16. And 16 minus 12 is going to give us at 4 and another wound. So down to 5. All right. We stun the monster again, so it's another counter, which means Massive Blow finally reveals. And now we have more ways to do damage. So both of our masteries are done. That's the end of my turn. I am threatened, so we are going to have to burn 2 of these, which is a little unfortunate. And so it's a 1 of the 1. I have that red card out there, the yellow card out there, so we're good. So I don't suffer damage. These are going to go away. He turns to face the aggro player. Again, that behavior card is stunned, so that doesn't trigger. And since that didn't trigger, Rampage didn't trigger, we are going to have an Unleash trigger, which is super annoying. There's nothing I can really do about that. Fortunately, Thorax should have drawn up to his hand limit, so it's a green, blue, red, green, and yellow. Right, so we had that 1 exile card there. We played 2 greens to get the rest of our exile cards back for both of them. End of the round, nothing's going to trigger here. We know that again, we still have a 0 and a 1 in that deck, so the attrition deck's very, very friendly. Oh, end of my turn. I would have had to exile a card because I'm threatened and I'm on ice. So that's the second time that's happened this game. So next round, this goes down. We're going into round 4. We're going to have a chance to consume. Yes, they were both going to play their Alamores and heal 4. Behavior refresh. Well, the stun token comes off. The 3 goes away, so we lose that Rampage card. Oh, I could have looked at the top card of the deck at the end of that. So what is this red? The active player suffers damage unless they discard a defensive card. If you have 3 or more exiled cards, it's damage plus 1. So that was from last turn with the Oculus. All right. Behavior card refresh happened, and then we add 2 attrition tokens. That's going to be an Unleash. Did they both have? No, we have 6 cards here, but only 1 card here. So Kara suffers damage times 2, so she's going to be back up to 6 damage. And Thorax suffers 1 damage. When they suffer damage, they discard 2 cards. So discarded 2. And discard 1. Suffer an attrition damage. That's going to mean that we are plus 2 in damage dealing abilities with our Dragon Wings. Really don't like how they did these plus damage tokens, but it's fine. And we shuffle these, and we discard 1 more. And I don't have 2 reds, so I can't even retaliate, unfortunately. Oh, my hand limit size increased by 1. I should have not suffered damage. I should not have suffered damage times 2. That should still be there. So it's 1 less damage because that last card would have been in my hand, and it was a yellow. I forget what the heck it was. I believe it was this. So I should have had 6 cards. Remember, because I was so the attrition damage and all that stuff happens. I know it wasn't another red though. So it would not have been double damage because I would have had a full deck, and I would have taken the 1 damage from the attrition. or from the fatigue for having to shuffle my deck again. But now Dragon Wings is doing 5 damage, and I discard 2 for the 1 damage, the 1 for taking damage from the Unleash at all, which is great. All right, so that all worked out. So we go to the next round. First player token is going to be here. We just added the 2 fatigue, which gave us, or the 2 struggle, which gave us the Unleash, and we are steadily marching onward. So round 4, Thorek starting us off. He is threatened. He doesn't like being threatened. It's like, forget that. Yeah. Ugh. Boo. I don't, yeah. Alright, well, lots of things that aren't going to be great here. So we're going to discard the yellow to move to here. What was this again? I don't hate that. Health is not critical, so that's not a thing. Hmm. Alright. Let's see if we can pull this off. I'm going to discard. Stamina boost could be really good, but it's just not coming together for me. I would like another red. I would like to not have no cards left in my deck either. Burning Stone could be helpful. How many reds are in my discard? There's still 2 reds on my draw pile, which I do like. I want to play at least 1 defensive card. So first thing I'm going to do is play this defensive card, Whirlwind. I want this offensive card, Whirlwind. So it's a maneuver card that renews 1 struggle. And so I played a blue card. I can do 2 damage, which gets us up to 6 because it's 2 weapon level damage. So weapon level is 1, so 2 times 1. And then because of this, I can draw the top card of my deck. If it's a red, I can add it to my hand. Oh, that's nice. Interesting. Then I'm going to play Sledgehammer. I can only play it after a blue. I think I'm just going to hope that that's the 0, to be honest with you. I did move, so I'm no longer... I have 50% chance that's the 0. It is what it is. Alright, so I'm going to play... this... to play Sledgehammer. So that is going to be how much damage? It's going to be 5 plus 1 weapon level because I only played 1 stamina for it. I can only play it after a blue. So it's going to be 6 damage, which gets us up to 12. That is another 5. Yeah, 6 damage. It gets another wound. So that goes down to 4. And this goes down to 0. I played a red card, however, so this flips. I suffer damage unless I discard oh, actually, never mind. Not a wound. I knew what that was. I'm going to keep this at 11. That makes more sense. So I suffer damage unless I discard a defensive card from my hand, fine, I'll discard that. That's fine. So instead of adding the 1 for the cost of Sledgehammer, I just did the straight up 5 damage. I just treated that as if it was a 0 stamina cost card. That comes in. This goes over here. We're at 11. Now I'm going to discard Stamina Boost. When discarding this card to generate stamina for a red card on my mastery is focus, which it is, it generates 4 stamina. So I'm playing Iron Blast. Now, if this was the first card I played, it would have inflicted vulnerable. It's obviously not the first card I'm playing, but it's going to increase the damage attack deals by 2. And because I played, I didn't play 2 blues. That's super stupid. It's fine. I can still stun something, which I like. What is this again? That's actually fine. I forget what this was. That's fine. Yeah, we can make all this work. However, I think I want to stun this, and I don't remember what that is. The active player is 5. It's around 5 or higher. It is not. Donation phase must play up. None of these are actually terrible. That's probably the worst. Because exile sucks. Alright, so what are we doing? We are going to do the 5 damage, and nothing else is this increases it by 2. So 7 damage here. So 7 gets us to 18, minus 12. We have 6 damage left. And we did that. We're going to do that wound back that we undid. Now, if I had played blue, blue, red, it would have increased by 3 there. But obviously that wasn't meant to be. But since I have blue, red, red, for this, I get to stun the monster. I'm going to stun this card. And that means that won't trigger the rest of the round. And then I'm going to use Oculus to look up what the heck this does. Gains 2 struggle. Then the extra player draws 1. Okay. It's not terrible. That means I just did not play a thing. Then since I did a stun, I'm going to choose Kara to reveal as many red cards as she can. She can reveal 1, and then she could do 5 damage as a result of that. So this gets us back to 11. All right. Great. We are now done. We go to the attrition phase. We're going to be the 0. Oh, of course, it's the 1. That means I suffer 1 damage. Gets me up to 2. Since I suffer damage, I discard 2 cards. It is disruption and concussion. End of my turn. So I know it's a 0, right? So I really don't have to worry about pulling unless something happens that she becomes threatened. These go away. I draw to my hand limit, which is 5. I suffer a fatigue damage. So red scale armor is really just not triggering. I can cancel a behavior card, which is really nice. Rapid blow. And draw 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's all going to come here. And then he turns to face the active player. When he does that, that triggers this. Each player in the rear sector suffers damage unless they discard a thing. If there are players in the rear sector, flank sector, there's no players in the flank sector, so that goes away. This comes down. And we go to Kara's turn. Kara, your cards gain stealth at the end of the turn. Oh, that's really sick. Beginning of her turn, This reveals, because she's in the front sector, if the active player has 5 or less cards in their deck, they do not. So that doesn't apply. It is not round 5 or higher. We do take this off. The active player must play a defensive card as the first card of their sequence or suffer damage. The red card comes out. So I do have 2 reds too, so I can't even retaliate. So not been pretty unlucky with that deal. So let me do this. What gains like that gains my card cell? So I have to play a defensive card, which is fine. I will play. I can play that for free after a thing. All right, so I will play that for free after a yellow. Let me draw 1. We have that. So I need to move. Woof. So I'm going to discard Slice to move to here with Kara. Oh, she takes it. She heals 1 because she started where the Bethanaeus is. She's now going to play a defensive card. Discard Wall of Blades to play Swing. That's going to increase my sequence by 1 to the end of the turn. It's aggro, so I get that. Then I'm going to play. Man, do I have an assist? I'm not getting the assist cards when I need them. Shoot, we're going to play Shadow Strike. Your cards gain stealth until the end of the turn. Take that. There's no struggle. No, I'm not even worried about this. I hate. Yeah, I don't want to get threatened. So that would be really bad. Chain draw. Remove 1 struggle. You know what? Forget that. I'm going to play Wall of Blades, and instead I'm going to play Natural Ability. So that's not an aggro token. Increase my limit by 1 to the end of the turn. Alright, now what that's going to do is trigger this. Circage gains 2 struggle. Active player draws a card. Beautiful. That goes there. And I played a defensive card, so I still satisfied that and don't suffer damage. This comes out. That's another struggle. And then we have 2 red cards in the sequence, which could be a problem. This gets shuffled up. All right. Now, I'm going to play. I could play this for free, but it's too risky. I don't want to trigger these things. And honestly, both of them leaving next turn would be great. So I'm going to play Shadow Strike. Your cards gain stealth until the end of the turn. Yes, please. I also remove a struggle because it's blue. Did I remove 1 earlier when I played that? I think I might have. So maybe we're still at 3. I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember. And actually, I'm going to do this in a different order. Man, no, it's not going to work either. Woof. There's a lot of stuff going on here. All right, I'm going to play. I'm not doing Battle Dance either. I'll hold on to these two, actually. That's fine. And then I'll discard this green. I'm discarding Swing to play Airblade. And it's down to one. I can't remember if... I just can't remember if I took one off a Shadow Strike. I think I might have. So I play Airblade. Know what I want to do? Before I play Shadow Strike, I'll play Blade Charge. Your weapon gets +2 damage to the end of the turn. That makes sense. Then I play Shadow Strike. Your cards gain Stealth at the end of the turn. Then I discard Swing to play Airblade. Airblade is, after the blue, it has Stealth, so it's not going to trigger any of those things, thanks to Shadow Strike. It is going to do 5 damage, and then Battle Dance is also going to trigger, and my hand is empty. So it's going to be 5 damage from the Airblade itself. It is an aggro card, so I get that. +3 for Battle Dance, +3 because of the Thunder armor. So 11 damage gets us to 22, minus 12 gets us down to 10, and a wound gets us down to 3 wounds left. And again, those don't trigger because those cards had Stealth. All right. End of the turn, we're going to go to the attrition phase. It's a 0, act surprise. These, oh, and +2 damage for that. So we're actually back to 12. Oh, that's super interesting. The weapon gets +2 damage at the end of the turn. So that would have been +2 damage, which gets us to 12, which is another wound on the dot, which means another wound happens here, which means we go to stance 3. Stance 3, 2 damage when revealed, gains struggle equal to the total number of exiled cards. There's 2 exiled cards. That gets us up to 5. That's fine. Nothing else happens there. Again, I'm not threatened or anything. Then that happened. That stays there until we need another card. These go away. We draw to my hand limit, which is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Dancing, Scythe, Blade Rush, Fighting Spirit, and Shadow Step. So these specifically can only prevent attrition damage. It's important to note. So if I suffer unleash damage, it can't prevent that. If I have 5 or less cards, I only have 5 cards. I would be taking double, so that would be 4 damage, and that's not great. I could suffer. I could do the retaliate thing though. Oh, and play the vengeance again. 1 more card. Need to stop forgetting that. You discard this card, you interrupt your hand size limit. Sheesh. Well, yeah, we're about to get unleashed on again. And that is not good. Because again, unleash is going to be ×2 for me. And that's going to be really bad. Not going to be a problem for him. But we only need to do, so it's not, so 36 damage total. And then we are good. So I think we can get to 36 pretty easy. Oh, but when that empties, that's another weapon level damage. Yeah, I'm probably getting knocked out as Kara, and then hopefully I can finish things off with, I can do vulnerable. Yeah, I like my chances right now. So next round, this comes down. Oh, he changes orientation to face me. Hello. The stun token goes away. Do I want to do anything? Hat-tricks would be bad. I can gain a defensive token. That probably makes some sense. So now I can act like I have 1 more defensive card out. We're going to do the behavior upkeep. These both go away. These 2 cards come out. Now note, it didn't really matter if I had 4 or 5 there because we're about to add 2. So we're adding 2. That's going to be an unleash, so it's going to go down to 2. Thorag's going to suffer 1 damage or 2 damage, so he's up to 5, which is perfect because now he'll draw another card beginning of his turn. Kara only has 4 cards in her deck, so she's going to suffer 4 damage. She's up to 9, which is rough. Since they both suffered unleash damage, we have to discard cards. So discarding 2 cards from Thorag, discarding 2 cards from Kara because they suffered damage thanks to Out for Blood. Right, and if I suffer fatigue damage, I'm going to be super dead. So this comes over here. What was attrition again? Yeah, I have to exile a card. Fine. So beginning of Kara's turn. We yellow would trigger things. We probably don't want to do that right now. Yeah. We're gonna use the yellow card. Oh, that's 2 stamina though. Draw 1 for each offensive card. Just probably want to do Blade Dance. Reclaim. I really haven't been able to do too much with the Battle Dance, unfortunately, but definitely can't get stamina here. So we're gonna discard. Oh, but I discard, but I use an offensive card to pay for a red card. I might have missed that at one point. I'm not playing the yellow anyway, so I'm going to discard this to move back to Thoreg. We are going to play that I like. Oh no, that's going to be bad. Yeah, I suffer 1 more damage. I get knocked out, and I do not want to get knocked out. So anything that makes me draw cards is just bad. Gross. Yeah, probably not surviving this. So the most damage I can do, the better. I'm going to discard Dancing to play Shadow Step, which lets me move immediately without paying stamina cost, which is great. Then I'm going to discard Disengage to play Scythe, which lets me remove a struggle, and I'm doing 5 damage. Gets me up to 5. And then I'm going to play Blade Rush to do 5 more damage. Gets me up to 10. Oh, wait. I should have done this in different order. I should have used Dancing to pay for Scythe, which would have been 2 more damage because of the Vulture Gauntlet. Then I played Blade Rush, which does 5 damage, and then Battle Dance, so 8 damage, which gets me up to 15. Which I like. All right, and now I'm sitting over there, which is great. We go to the attrition phase. See if I can't stay alive here. My hand is empty too, so I actually do 3 more damage from that. So I get to 18, which is a wound. Heck yeah. So much of this game is remembering the damage that you're doing. All right, so 1 wound left. We're going to go to the attrition phase. We draw a top card. It's a 1. I have 1 defensive token, so we actually don't even need to use that. We're good there. Pick that up. We draw it over our hand limit. Oh, look at that. That's the end of us. This does get 1 more, but we take fatigue damage, which means we get knocked out, which means we have to add a wound to our deck. We add this, and we get this knocked out token. Immediately, the aggro token goes here, and dude turns to face the only remaining player. We skip all other steps of the turn. All right. So Kara's knocked out. We're not going to have to worry about her too much, I don't think. So we now go to Thorik's turn. If he gets knocked out, we done. Beginning of Thorik's turn, start of turn, his health is criticals where he draws a card. Fantastic. I would like vulnerable. Yeah, I think we can pull this off all in one turn. So we're going to discard Chase to move. That gives me +2 damage to my weapon level for the rest of the turn. We're not getting threatened. Oh, attrition. Shoot. Attrition, this would have triggered. The active player exiles a card. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But that would have definitely happened. These are both 4s, right? Yeah, that goes there. And now this card comes out. And we can look at it as suffers damage. Let's discard a green thing. I can suffer that damage. I'm not that worried about it. All right. So we're going to play. When I play a blue, I can cancel that too, but nah, it's not going to happen. Can I get... Seven, 9, 10. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I think this will work. So I'm going to discard these 2 cards. Oh, does this threaten me? Nope, we're good. So we're doing those 3 cards to play Iron Blast. That inflicts vulnerable. So I can choose for the rest of the round to have, not this attack, but any other attack, to have double damage done. That's increased by 2, so we're doing 5, 7 damage. There. Since I played a red card, this triggers. Active player suffers damage. Let's discard a defensive card. I cannot do that, so I take 2 damage. Gets me up to 7. And then this goes away. This comes down. Beginning of my turn, I did start there, so I would have healed 1. But that's fine. I could do those in any order, I think. So I think I still would have drawn a card. Resolve abilities, stance, peril, hunter, objective. So I think it's all other cards. So hunter cards. So this would have evolved before the cards on the board. It just kind of falls into all others, so I could do those in whatever order I want. Then I'm going to play Whirlwind. And the only reason I'm playing Whirlwind is so I can play Sledgehammer, because it has to be played after a blue. So Whirlwind, I do 2 damage automatic, so that's up to 9. And then I'm going to play Sledgehammer. I'm going to treat it like a 0-cost card. That's going to do 5 damage. I'm going to take the vulnerable, have it do 10 damage. So that 10 damage is 19. That's enough to do the last wound. And Surkaj is dead skis. Heck yeah. All right, so we've killed Surkaj. That was a bit of a puzzle I enjoyed. Okay. And I'm going to make really weird groaning sounds. Conclusion. Streaming blood gushes from Sarkaja's corpse, staining the pristine white snow. As you catch your breath and examine the creature's fangs, you see the faint glimmer of a torch in the distance. A group of seekers who survived the attack emerge from a rocky ravine and walk toward you, trembling in fear and from the cold. There's an icy wind coming from the mountains, indicating a storm is brewing, which will rage towards the south, says one of the men, whose faces have been marked by their close encounter with death. We have been here for a long time, and we can say for sure that this frost is not natural. There is something we still do not understand. The cold compelled the monsters to hunt. They were thirsty for our blood. They massacred all our camps, and ours is the only group left. Oh, but yeah, when I took that last attack, I should have discarded 2 cards. Sorry. There we go. All fixed. When they attacked, the sky was red. The northern lights have been changing color and fluttering in the sky like a stormy sea for some time, adds another wounded seeker. You look up at the sky as if searching for a guiding light in the darkness to avoid getting lost. You need answers, some mark of your destiny written in the stars. As you make your way south, you turn for one last glance at the unreachable lands to the north. Up there in the sky, from the edge of the world, a red aurora burns bright among the stars like an ancient wound that is still bleeding. The depths of the north have not yet revealed their darkest secrets to you. Dun, dun, dun. We go for rewards on page 20. And there we find... Oh, when things expire, I should have read some stuff. I'll do that in a second. So there we find the rewards from... Number what? 46, yeah. Unlock the Ice Forge. Get this, get a pencil. So the Ice Forge is now unlocked. We have a trophy of... Where are you? Zerkaj. Ice Forge. Each player gets the following crafting materials. We have 2 ice elements. 2 and 2. We have 1 bone each, so that gets us a 2 and 2. 1 eye ride each, and 2 Kobario each. That's 3 and 3. We have a lot of fun crafting next time. Plants, we're going to get 1 Taramet each, so that's 1 and 2. First is always store egg in these numbers in case you're really paying attention here. 2 Albacea, so that gets us up to 2 and 4. And 2 Zalicornia, that gets us up to 2 and 3. We have the Fallen Star achievement. There's a Blood Vision, which are interesting. I don't fully understand all of them, but that's fine. Let's go back to the campaign book, because I did miss when there's expiration. So 2 expired. When 2 expired, the current chapter is 3. News has arrived from the north. The missing Seeker's airship has crashed in the woods in the Dragon's Ridge, but we had already done it, so it actually didn't expire. So that's not a thing, so I shouldn't do that. The Feather Expansion 36 expired, however, so we have to read that from that book. So when that expired... Yeah, it's like a little thing. It's just so easy to forget. 36. The Matsamura, one of the teams that has returned to Alboria, has reported to Central Command that Muara outpost was destroyed and has now become Pacey's territory. There are no survivors. Oh, sad. Okay, nothing else unlocks, so that's not a thing to worry about. All right. Done and done. That is the end. So again, it's the story phase, the quest phase where you pick your quest, the leveling up phase, or the craft phase where you're crafting your items and your potions, and then the actual battle. You get your rewards, you come back, you read the story at the next chapter. Now we will be going into level 2 monsters. The amount of health gets greatly increased. Your items get much more powerful. We knocked off 46. That is good. And we're now at level 2 forges and level 2 herbalist. It will tell us that when we read the next chapter for sure. I'll get my exile cards back. So yeah, just staying on top of the exile mechanic was pretty good. Being able to do the green early, never got above 3. Again, once you get above 3, like bad things really do start to happen. We didn't have to worry about this ice too much. You know, that healing was nice. Getting to the one where we healed 4 each, hit the battle dance just enough. I do like that retaliate. Um, and just again remembering the damage that you're doing. You know, I think I actually did. Oh, yeah, I discarded. Right. So my damage would have been 14. So it actually wasn't that close. It would have been plus 2 then with the ×2 from the vulnerable. So we actually had a cushion of 5 damage. If I got attacked, obviously that would have been pretty rough. Not one. I think I had a green card out. Maybe not. No. So if I got attacked, oh, I could have just taken this off. We come back. You know, we weren't close to really unleashing again, so we would have had one more turn to really just, really rail away. The red scale armor would make my hand size +1 every turn, so really uh, was able to really get in control. When he moves, however, like this would have triggered each player in the rear again. Everyone's in the front, so that wouldn't have mattered. So we're really able to stay on top of the cards. Oh, I did forget to reveal this. When he suffers a wound, the aggro player exiles the top card of their deck. Then they suffer damage equal to the number of their exiled cards. All right. So that one of them mattered, actually. So I did forget to reveal that. So what would have happened in that case is when so instead of Kara getting knocked out from um, fatigue damage, she would have just got knocked out as soon as she gave him the wound. So the same amount of damage would have applied, and it still would have been on Thoreg to do the last bit of damage. And yeah, none of those. It wouldn't have changed the cards at all. Yeah, so when suffers a wound, this one it would only apply for 1 wound. It's funny, like level 1, I'm wondering in level 2 if that would trigger for 3 or 4 wounds as opposed to just a 1. So yeah, 1 wound. So basically, at that point, Kara would have been toast just a bit earlier in her turn sequence, and then Thoreg would have just had to take care of it. So there are a lot of things. I definitely, I've seen some complaints about this game, but there's so many triggers and so much to remember. I haven't obviously played this in like a month and a half, just based on what I said at the beginning of this video. So coming back to it, but considering as far as rules with big, games with big rule structures go, like I find a lot of this pretty intuitive, and it's usually pretty easy to kind of work it back. I'd be like, oh, that should have happened, and that would have done that, whatever. And I do think that most of the time it doesn't matter, right? If you miss a struggle here or there, like, well, once it unleashes, it kind of resets anyway, right? I mean, like, so that, of course, there are edge cases where it could matter. A few damage here and there. I think you probably the amount of times you miss damage kind of evens out with other things that you're forgetting to do that you know would be to your benefit. So there's a lot of things that I think just go into it, but for the most part, like once you're trained to like remember, just kind of keep a running track in your head, like what's up there. It's pretty easy, I think, to manage this game with 2 characters. When you have a second player, it's even better because both of you are kind of, staying on top of the game state at all times. But yeah, just I forgot to reveal that last peril card. And these are all permanent. So permanent cards. Some of the monsters, the peril cards will replace each other. But in some of the monsters, now all those peril cards kind of stay into play. So it does like increase the mental overhead. But again, I don't find it that bad. How do you rate this game in relation to Spirit Island as a solo game? Um, I mean, it's hard. Like Spirit Island's fallen for me a little bit, and that's some of it's just like my angst over the last expansion. I don't find it up to the same quality consistently as the rest of the Spirit Island content. I mean, I really like 4 or 5 of the spirits in there, but I do find the rest of that. Well, I like 4 of the spirits in there. I find the other spirits really kind of terrible, and I don't love some of the new cards. So that's a me problem. I mean, look, I think I've also played hours and hours and hours and hours of Spirit Island, and I play Spirit Island a lot with my friends. So um, I love look, they're just so different. I mean, this is a boss battler, right? So if you like the idea of going up against one boss, like this is it. To me, I think this is best in class on boss battlers that I've played. I haven't played KDM, but I've played ATO, which is very similar. So Kingdom Death Monster and Aeon Trespass Odyssey, for those that don't know the acronyms. I've played Oathsworn, didn't really like it. I love this. I love the fact that the monster's here, all assuming is turning. I think the response system is intuitive and cool and makes sense. I think the hunters are super interesting. You know, there's a scalability of difficulty. Like sometimes I wish this might have been it could have made this a little bit harder, especially as you get good at it. But like I'm fine with that. Like I've got a lot of hours of play out of this game. I've played with multiple friends. They all really like it. You know, and I had a good time. You know, painting the minis, and I think they came out pretty cool, right? So I I don't know. Like this is easier to manage too. I'll say that. You know, there's a flow to it and the aggro and whatever. Whereas you know, if you get some mental overhead games or you're playing like level 6 England and you got like, you know, a high complexity spirit, like you really want a friend there, dude, if you're playing 2 spirits. Just because, you know, um these games are gonna be net shorter. I mean, this is a longer video, but I talk a lot, you know, so that's a thing. And you know, the camera always adds time to how these playthroughs go. But I think if you're just really getting into the rhythm of these games, most of these battles you can get done in under an hour and a half. Where Spirit Island, you know, those games could really get longer, especially at the higher levels. So, you know, I'm not going to say Spirit Island's not my top 5 anymore. I mean, it was my number 1 game for a long time, became my number 2 game past after Mage Knight. Probably would still put it at 2, but I really don't solo it very often right now. I just don't. And you know, I just play it so much with my friends, and when I'm soloing, I'm usually soloing this or Mage Knight or you know Gaia Project, Uprising. You know, I just played through all of Kings of Ruin, so I have other things I want to play solo. So I'm gonna get on the table things that I don't play with friends. And since I play Spirit Island with friends, it just tends to get to the back of the line more often than not. So long story, I don't know if I'd put this above Spirit Island just yet, but I mean, if you're going to choose one or the other, like I really love this game, and I think it comes down to do you want a boss battler experience or do you want a more thinky, involved kind of thing? And I think the thing with Spirit Island too that you're going to have to remember is like the spirit progression over the course of a one-off game is intense, right? Like in 7, 8, 9 rounds, you went from a little pathetic little spirit to like something that's, you know, wiping out entire lands full with invaders. Where this isn't going to give you that progression over the course of a campaign, it will, but on a game, there's a little bit of again deck building. It's almost like that Arkham kind of deck building in between scenarios. Not as crazy as Arkham, but you're choosing cards, you're adding other cards, you're choosing, hey, what deck do I want to take against this monster? Um, so you know, I think they're so different. It's really hard to like compare them as what's a better solo experience. I think, you know, you ask 100 solo gamers, you're probably gonna have probably have more people say Spirit Island just because it's such a beloved game. But you know, I think it's just what experience do you want? And for me, like this is giving me more fun solo now, like right now, as someone who played hundreds and hundreds of hours of Spirit Island. Um, you know, this is a new experience for me that I'm currently liking right now a bit more. But that is that. So yeah, I would definitely highly recommend this game at all times. I think they really hit in so many ways. And they're every month they're releasing a new challenge. So if you play through the campaign a few times, you just want to like, hey, I don't want to play a full campaign. Great, here's another challenge you have that you could just take out and play that as a one-off. Again, I'm currently playing through a campaign with my friends, my one friend, and we're just really having a blast with it. There's so many little things you unlock as you go, and secret cards, and a lot of paths I haven't even figured out yet. The finale of this game is really wild, and I think very well done. So I'm super curious to see what they do with this game and the system, especially since they're just releasing these challenges for free. I'm curious if they're going to come out with another big bad down the road or whatever. Um, but for now, I mean, it's like you get the whole thing. It's like 22 monsters, six hunters. Like it's such an incredible amount of content in this game as it came out. Kind of, I'm hoping they don't come out with anything new for a long time. If they do, please offer me a painted option because I think my painting days are wildly over. So that's about it. So this was cool. Enjoyed the lively chat when I first got on here, and hopefully people will have some questions, comments, epiphanies in the upcoming days. I will definitely get back to you. If you did miss the beginning, I did talk a lot about some stuff with me and why I'm not going to be doing much content. Why I haven't been doing much content, some medical stuff going on, and then some career stuff. All good. I'm in a very interesting spot in my life, but you know I will always every day there's a part of me that hopes I can stream. So hopefully we can get something, get this campaign moving. I probably will take a break from it at some point, and get like the mage night or something like that. Would I just have a couple hours and want to get something on on the table? But having a couple hours is going to be very rare in the next 6 months. But when I do and I get a chance to stream, I will indeed do so. So that is about it. Hope everyone is doing well. Until next time, might be a while, but whenever it is, happy gaming.
Solo.